So what's the first thing you do whenever you start a new build in Tiny Glade? Of course, you kind of gotta have an idea of what you want to do. You can totally just build whatever and just make it up as you go. But me personally, I like to have a rough idea of what I want to build. If it's not trying to recreate something that already exists, like from media or TV shows or in real life, but just something that I make up, then I still kind of want to have an idea of where I want to go. And once I have a rough idea what you could do and what would probably be a really good idea would be to make like a rough sketch. This would help a lot with placement, I think. But me personally, when I have an idea, I usually just go right ahead and start. And the first step that I take is landscaping. So when I want to know approximately what I want to do, is that I remove all the trees to the side because I want to keep them. Because while, yes, of course, you can always use this tool to make new trees, they all kind of look like this. So you just get these yeah, kind of skinny looking trees. You don't really get like these, which are more like little bushes or something like that. And you also don't get those that have like a really big trunk. You just get these normal trees. So that's why when I start out and I know that I need more space, I will just move all the trees to the side and save them for later. It's a bit tedious and it's actually something where I wish we could have something maybe like a rubber band tool, and then you can just maybe just like the eraser tool where you can select what kind of things you want to move around, and then you just pick the tree and then you can move a bunch of trees around at the same time. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so that's always the first step I want to take, and then I usually just figure out what kind of landscaping I want to do. If I want to have if I want to have a bit of a raised terrain, or if I want to have some water on the map. So that's pretty much my first step. But me personally, I also always kind of think about things like storytelling. So it doesn't have to be super realistic or whatever. Like for example, here I want to build a little blacksmith workshop, and I will place something like a well nearby because at a blacksmith you also need a lot of water, you know, to cool down the metal. So I thought it would make sense, but the storytelling doesn't have to be realistic. Like if you build something that's like a complete fantasy kind of thing, you still will think about who lives there or what's going on at the place that you're building. So it kind of makes things a bit more coherent, but it also helps with adding detail and just adding things that make sense. So even though this is just a game where you build little places, there's storytelling involved. These are just some things that I think about before I even start building. But of course, you can also make up things and add things as you go, because you have a lot of freedom in this game and you can decide what you want to do and when you want to do it. So let's start out with some more specific tips. This was just some general, I don't even want to call it advice, because there's no right or wrong way to do things. You can do whatever you want. And I think that's the beauty of this game, because it's basically impossible to build something that isn't pretty. So it's all beautiful in its own way. But yeah, let's start out with something a little more practical. So here we have a chimney. It has a bit of an extension, so the regular chimney looks something like this. You can just place it. You can place it like on the ground, and it goes from the ground up, like on this one. Or you can also place it on the side of the house, or If you want to, you can also just place it on top, and you can, of course, you can change the colors. So you have the standard brick colors, and then you can also change the height by just moving your cursor over here and then just pulling it up, and you can change the height. But what if you do not want this type of chimney because it's kind of big and doesn't always fit? There's another kind. So let me see, maybe we can get it here, but probably not. Let's try it somewhere else. Let's just try it over here. So this build is just a current work in progress. I will not finish it today, but I added some things that I thought would be interesting to show you guys. So this is what I'm using today to show you some little tricks and tips. Okay, so let's see if we can manage to get the other. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so there's a different kind of chimney. This small chimney will appear whenever you don't have enough space for the regular big one, but it's a bit finicky. So maybe someday we will get like a switch. Oh, see, I can even now place another one, maybe a third one too. Maybe we will someday get some kind of switch, like where you can decide what type of chimney. So these you can't change the color, but yeah, maybe someday we will get some type of switch where you can decide what type of chimney you want to spawn. But I think these are really cool for more like industrial type of builds, or maybe also for if you want to build something that's more steampunk or whatever. So I think that's pretty cool to know, and it's something that's easily done, but also something you might not know because you see this and you only get this. So you have to either find it out by accident or just by, you know, trying out different things. And yeah, that's my first little tip, but there is more, of course. Let's talk about stairs. You can do stairs pretty easily, like these ones, by just putting down a platform. And it doesn't matter if you have like the trims off or on. So, but let's just turn them off. Oh no, let's keep them on maybe. So maybe it's a bit more visually interesting. So if you just choose the path tool, automatically a little type of stairs will spawn, and these can go up to a certain height. Yeah. So I think this is the maximum height that you can have. So, oh, wow. I don't know what's happening here. Anyway, this is the maximum height you can have. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, now it works. But if you want to have them any taller than this is going to happen. So you're going to get the little arches. But fortunately, there are different ways to get some stairs, and I will start out by showing you one of my favorites, which is just we're just going to place it. Where are we going to place it? Maybe over here. It's just using the platform. Okay, yeah, so this happens to me all the time. I all the time accidentally click on the undo arrow because, yeah, I don't move my camera high up enough and then it just happens. Anyway, you can just use a little platform, and I think I actually don't want this to be half timbered, so we're just going to do it like this and raise it a little. And then you can just, it's pretty basic. You basically just layering bricks, which is like everything you do in Tiny Glade pretty much. But yeah, you can just stack these. You can do it very neatly. Of course, this is not my neatest build, but it's just to show you guys what is possible. And these stairs you can even walk up when you're in the camera mode, like this one where you can walk around. Okay, so maybe, yeah, I think it's not going to happen now because we are outside of the outer gate. But technically you could walk up these stairs, and yeah, I think that's pretty neat. Of course, you can also add the half timber, and then you can add something like railing, but I think these would have to be a bit bigger for this to work out. The steps, I'm not quite sure. Let's see. Yeah, something like this. So you could also have the railing on the side. I've done it before, but as with anything in Tiny Glade, it's a bit of trial and error, but I think these are some decent looking stairs, and you could also use the fence to make something like a railing. That's definitely a possibility, to add some railings, which I think is pretty cool. You can always, when you want to make individual sections, so if I just continue drawing the fence here, this is going to happen. But if I don't want this, if I just want to have one individual section of fence, you can always just press Control while you are placing the fence, and then you have the option to move it freely without it snapping to the other piece of fence. And yeah, then you can change the height and place it where you want to place it, and then you have your little railing. And well, I've also seen some people doing wooden stairs just by using the fence tool. It's probably not the fastest way to make stairs. I think the one where you use the platforms is probably the fastest one, which is probably why it's my favorite one, because it's really easy and it's really fast. But if you really want to have wooden stairs for a specific build, you can totally also just do this and just use the fence tool and make sure to place some path underneath so that you get these guys over here, and then you can just move them around and, you know, make some stairs. Yeah, but it's not the fastest way, but if you really want to have wooden stairs, I think they are quite pretty. They're pretty cute, so nothing wrong with that. And then there is, of course, another way, which would be using the wall. We now have the option to give these a flat top, which is really great, like a straight top, because back in the day, before the update, this wasn't possible yet, so you always had to... It was a lot of work because you had to cut them into separate sections to get them to be around the same height, but they still, most of the time, weren't as straight as these ones are. But yeah, you can just layer your wall pieces. I've actually done this before in another video, and it wasn't the fastest stairs that I've ever made, but sometimes it really depends on what kind of look you're going for. But yeah, this is also an option for stairs. So as you can see, there are multiple ways to reach your goal. And there is also this little window right here, which I want to show you. Of course, you can get like a window that is a little bit like a bay window, but not quite. Just by placing 3 windows next to each other. But if you want to have a proper bay windows or something like this, there's also a way, of course. Let me just... Oh, yeah, I didn't want to do that. Let me just move these windows to the side, or better yet, I just delete them. So what I did, I just placed this little piece into here. And then if you put two windows, like if you put one window on the edge, you get this kind of very cute corner window. But you also can put two next to each other, and then it will look like this, which I think is pretty cool. There's also the way to, there's also the option to put a third one next to it, and then you get this window, which I think is also really, really cool. But yeah, that's not what we are going to do right now, because we want to have a bay window. And what you can do is just placing these windows in the middle. So it's pretty easy, but you have to move them around a little, you know, to get them to be at least approximately at the same height. And sometimes also it's not working right away. So maybe if there's not enough space and you can't put the third window, or in this case I used a double window in between, that's okay. You can just make some more space, just like I did. Okay, so my dog really wanted to get on my lap, but I think we were talking about bay windows. So anyway, if it doesn't work, if you can't fit your window in between, just make it as wide as you need to. It doesn't really matter if it's centered either, because you can always just move it to the center afterwards. So I think that's pretty neat. Anyway, let's talk about bridges. So there are different kinds of bridges. I think the most basic one is probably just something like this, and maybe using the path tool so that you get your little steps on the side. And yeah, that's a perfectly good bridge. If you have a bridge that is over the water, you can also just draw a path through the water, and then you get this little arch down here, and you can pull it up, and then you have a bridge like this, which I think is pretty cool. But you can also make a curved bridge. This one is a little bit well, this one is not as straightforward, let's just say it like that. And you make a curved bridge by placing a piece of wall, and then you can just figure out what height you want this to be, and then just place just place a bunch of walls, so they can be pretty short. I think it's easier if you take a short piece and then make it longer, because if you have just 2 points, it will automatically be straight. And I think that makes it so much easier. So yeah, you just place a bunch of wall pieces. So for this one, I think for this one that I have here, I think I have 5 pieces in the middle and then 2 for the sides. So if you want to have like a little bit of a, yeah, it's not really a railing, but like kind of. So anyway, I will just demonstrate what I did with using these 2 pieces. You yet again draw a path in the water, and yeah, if you make it wide, then you will get something like this. So it probably shouldn't be too wide. So you just have one arch, and then you can just pull it up. Yeah, see here, it's still a little bit wonky because the path was a bit too wide. But we can fix it. So I think that's the tricky part, trying to get every piece equally as wide. I think that's the trickiest part when doing these types of stairs. So, and then you have to make sure that they are the same height as well. And of course you want them to touch, so it can be a bit tricky. It can take a bit to get it the way you want. I think even with these ones I don't know how long I spent, but I did spend a good amount of time on it, and it's not perfect. But I personally don't think it has to be. I can be a bit of a perfectionist, but I don't know. I think in Tiny Glade, it doesn't matter if it's a little wonky or not. I think it will still look quite beautiful, so I think that's perfectly fine. So that's how you can do these stairs. And if you want to have what I did here, like a bit of a railing, you can also use contrasting colors. I think that kind of makes the effect a little stronger, but basically I just raise the height on the sides and also raise the height of the arch for these ones. You just have to be careful because if you make them too high, you get this. I mean, I suppose depending on your design, this could also work really well, but I wanted this to be closed, so yeah, this is basically what I did to get these stairs. And yeah, they take a bit more time to make than something like this. So, but if you really want to have the curved, did I say stairs? I mean bridges. I think I kept saying stairs, but we were obviously talking about bridges, not stairs. So yeah, if you want to have curved bridges, then this is definitely a good way. I don't know if there's a different way to do something like this currently. There probably is. I mean, I suppose you could just stack a bunch of these pieces like on top of each other, and then you could have basically do the same thing that we did here with the stairs, but like make it something like this, you know. So that could be, I mean, it wouldn't really be curved, but it could be like kind of something like this. But yeah, I think that could be one possibility, but that's the way that I've seen curved bridges done before. And here I have another one, which I think there shouldn't be a door here. But yeah, here I have another one, and for this one, I could do like a set of stairs down here, but I wanted to have these towers, so basically in my imagination the stairs are inside of the towers, because I know, I think I just wouldn't like to have a set of massive stairs down here. So this is for connecting two different heights of terrain with each other. So for here I just used the little steps that you get when you make a path, but for this side I think the stairs are just in the tower, and yeah, that's fine for me. So I think that's all I have on stairs and bridges. I don't know why I keep talking about stairs, but yeah, I think that's all I have for bridges. And now I think maybe we can talk about how you can make a veranda. Because, you know, making your builds more interesting and more detailed is pretty much all about layering. So now we have this cute little build right here. platform. It's not really built yet. And we're going to put a little house on it. Right. And maybe you want to have a veranda for this one. And you can just do this by placing yet another piece on top and making it like really slim. So, and then you can maybe change the height of the, I mean, you could also make it like a balcony. So that's something that I like to do. So it's creating a little balcony. It doesn't need to have those wooden pillars right here, but it can, depending on how far you pull it out. But this could also be a little veranda, and of course you could also have the roof on this one, but I think for this to work, this one would need to be a little bit taller so that it doesn't look too weird. And if you don't like that this veranda has only these 2 pillars, you could always make more by using the fence tool. But for this, you would probably have to raise this down here a little bit. So this would be like a fake bottom. You would place another one down, or you don't. I mean, you don't have to, because this can also be on these little wooden stilts, but you can. So you could just move this all the way down so that you have, yeah, but then the railing will disappear, so you kind of have to fiddle around a bit with the size of things to make them reappear. And so the reason why we're doing this is because if I want to make more of these wooden pillars using the fence tool, I will have to put down some path for this to work. So if I do it like this, it's not gonna work, but yeah, I might have to move this up a little bit higher. So sometimes it will, the platforms will still react even though they're not fully touching the floor anymore, the ground anymore, but they might still produce some steps for you. So, but if that's not what you want, that's not ideal. But yeah, you can just use this fence tool. What I like to do is actually making a little bit of path on the side to adjust the height, because it's much easier when you don't have it in the build yet. Because if you're in here, oh, so that's the wrong tool. If you're in here and you want to raise the height, you might, okay, so this actually works quite well this time, but sometimes you can't grab it, so it keeps grabbing other things. But yeah, but that's one way to do them. You can push them together if you just want one, or you can do it like this, and then you can have just a few more pillars, and you can do this all the way around your veranda to make it look a little bit more interesting. And that's what we're all about. We all want our builds to look a little bit more interesting. And yeah, I think that's all there is to say about verandas, at least all that I can remember. But there is more to say about wells. There is different ways to do wells. So I have prepared 2 different types of wells, and I think they're both equally like complicated or easy depending on how you look at them. What I did for this one, I think I will just I will just delete it all. Why not? What I did for this one is I just used the water tool. I think we don't have to delete that, but I can show you, I can demonstrate. Because it's actually, I think, pretty interesting the way the water tool interacts with raised terrain, because you can basically just cut right through it. And I think that's pretty neat. So if you want to have a hole like this for a well, you basically just click and then you get a nice hole. And then you might want to place one of these round buildings. And you can kind of check how wide should it be for it to fit inside the hole. And then you can also kind of look how high you want it to be. The height is not that important yet, but you should check that the width is like appropriate. So then you can just take it outside, and what we are going to do is we are going to delete a tiny little bit of this building. Let me see. Okay, there you go. And now we can make it all nice and straight at the top. And then you just look where the ending points of this now wall are. And you can just pull them together really carefully so it's going to stay round. Okay, so this is not perfectly round anymore, maybe. Oh well, it's actually pretty good. But this is a much easier way to make round walls than trying to draw them with the tool, because that's like a lot of work. But you can do it like this, and then you just move the wall inside of your well, right? But who would want to try and get water out of this well with things being so open? That's why I use little platforms all around the well, and I just make sure that there are no dangerous openings on the ground. So you can kind of move them pretty close, and then you can see if they show through in the middle. You might want to move them a little bit back. But yeah, I recommend pressing Control while you move them around, because you have a lot more freedom in your movement when you press Control. So yeah. And you can just do this all around the sides, and you will probably be able to close this. So you have to kind of check and see if they are at the same height or not. It's not super super pretty right now, because I kind of just want to show you the process, but I don't want to take like 20 minutes to do it. So bear with me if this looks a little bit wonky and not as pretty. But this is just to show you how it's done. Of course, the more time you spend on it, the more beautiful it's going to get, I think. The more neat, I should say, because wonky can also be quite beautiful. But anyway, that's one way to do a well, and I think it's a good one, because wells usually are pretty deep. So I actually like this one quite a bit. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. Oh my god. And just to make it look not as naked, I like to put like a little roof on top. So yeah, it kind of wants to be all the way down there, so which is which is why I'm going to move it over here for now. And then I like to select the half timbered walled style, and yeah, there you go. I think it's pretty cute. You can of course add some more details, add some more decoration to it, and that's one way to do a well. And another way to create a well or something resembling a well is this fun way. So I yet again used a fake bottom for this, because if you take a look down here, I placed some path down here, and I will show you why in a minute. Of course, I used the same technique to get the round walls again here. What do you want? I'm sorry. So what I did here to create the illusion of water is I used some... Oh. Yeah, that's why you always should press control when you want to play some fencing. I used some fence. And I made it blue, and then I just stacked these, well, not stacked, I just put these side by side. And if you fill this up, you can make it look a little bit like a well. So I would probably raise the height of this, or make these a little bit shorter in hindsight, because I think this would look a bit more realistic. But yeah, that's another way to do a well. And I've actually used this technique to make something resembling a cauldron. So I think I just made the liquid, the fake liquid, I think I just made it green or something. Yeah, I think I made it green. And that was my way to make a fake cauldron. And yeah, of course you could also place something like, I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna be honest with you. Wait a second, I'm actually going to do it over here because I want to change the color. I don't know what these what these things are called. But it's the thing where you would kind of have your rope and your little... What is Eimer in English? Let me Google that. The bucket. So this is where you would have your rope and your bucket to pull it up on, I think. So yeah, you can put something like this there to make it a bit more obvious that this is indeed a well. And yeah, that's it on wells. Okay, so let's talk ovens. I don't really know where I went wrong with this one, because the light is kind of coming out at the sides and not where it's supposed to. But to be fair, I think this is my second oven I have done so far. So of course I'm not a master yet. I mean, I'm not a master in this game in general. There is still a lot to learn, but I think this is the case for at least most of us. And yeah, I think that's okay. So we learn as we go. But basically, the secret to this little oven is just that hidden... of course I can get there right now. Hidden... Oh yeah, right. Hidden beneath these pieces of fence are little lights. So they are hidden, and they are supposed to light up and make it look like maybe not full on fire, but like the fire is still like glimmering a little bit. But yeah, this one did not turn out as perfect. Let's see, I think I have another one somewhere. Maybe this one's better. I don't remember. Oh yeah, this build should have one. Yeah, just to give you an example of how this can look, I think this one turned out much better. So this is a smithy that I did for a different build. And yeah, I think it's kind of cute. So that's definitely something you can do. And another thing you can do is a big door. Of course, you can get big doors if you put some path, like I put some path over here, you get your little door, and if you want, you can make it really big. But what if you want your door to be open? So what I did here, I first made an arch using... Oh, no, wait. I first made an arch using the wall tool, and you don't have to, because I don't think a door necessarily needs a frame, but I decided that's what I wanted to go for this one. And then I just filled the empty space using fence yet again. There are a lot of things you can do using fence, so I just filled this, I changed the height as needed, and just filled this up with many little pieces of fences. And that's one way you can do a door, and you can actually use a pretty similar technique to create, let's say, a open door for a fence. So you could do something like this, and then you have your little fence pieces, and just make them a little smaller so that they fit the height, and bring them a bit closer, and yeah. And this already kinda, well, kinda looks like an open door for your fence. So I think that's pretty neat and a good way to add some more detail and, you know, bring some more life into your builds. And a different way to do this is by faking a stained glass window. And I will just place it here. It's not going to be here in the end. I don't think. Oh, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But in case you didn't know, if you place down these little windows, you can change the color not only of the frame, but you can also change the color of the glass, which is also, I mean, it's not really visible during daytime, but let me show you what it looks like during nighttime. So see, this will, oh no, I went too far. So this is going to light up in the color you select. And if you want, you can make a really big window using these kind of windows, and you can easily change the color for them individually. So if you press Control while placing them, they will not snap to each other. If you want them to snap, just don't press Control, and then they will snap to each other, and then you can... Or maybe they won't. See, I'm not pressing Control. Sometimes they just don't want to connect, but anyway, in the end they will. So, and you can use a bunch of different colors and basically, I mean, this is obviously not going to be my most beautiful work here. This is not going to look very impressive, I don't think. But you can create really beautiful shapes using this technique. You can create different shapes, different colors, and make it look really interesting. And you can make it look like a proper stained glass window. And I think that's pretty neat. Like, we don't really have the option to do this with different windows. I mean, you can of course, with different windows, you can also change the color of the glass. But it's just going to be one color. I mean, I've seen people layer different windows by layering multiple walls, but that's not my game. I'm not that advanced yet, so I would probably try to create an interesting shape using these windows and just multiple different colors. And yeah, I think you can make something pretty cool out of this. So that's it on stained glass windows. And yeah, I mean, maybe we can also take a look at something that I did in a former video. I think I've done it a few times now, but it just I think it's really cute. I don't know, I can't help myself. Something that I really like to do is make little tombstones. So if you want to add a little graveyard to your build, you can of course also do this without like a platform, but I kind of like it, so which is why I am doing it. And you can do many different shapes of tombstones. This is just yeah, more classic, I want to say, a curved one. Of course, now we have the option to just make the top straight. It used to be not an option. And you can also just, you know, make sure that the sides are down, because otherwise it looks like this. And then what you are going to do is just fill this with pieces of wall. That's basically what you're going to do to get like a proper tombstone. Of course. Of course it won't let me click it, but you know what? I'm just going to pull it out again. Oh yeah, that's what I want to do. Right, I want to change the height. So yeah, and then you can just place a bunch of pieces next to each other, and that's how you fill up your tombstone. Just be careful not to make the mistake that I did just now, because if you raise them too high, they're going to peek through on the side. Oh, that's what happens when you don't press Control and you place a piece of wall near another piece of wall. But yeah, okay, this is not perfect. Again, I'm just mentioning it in case someone thinks like, why does it look so wonky? I'm just doing this to demonstrate what is possible in the game. You could also do just a really, really basic straight tombstone. Like, that's also a legit tombstone. But you can also make this one like maybe a little bit bigger, and then you can cut some pieces off to give it a bit more dimension and make it a bit more interesting. What I like to do, of course, is placing some, not trees, but flowers around the grave. Oh, that's a bit too much maybe. Oh, maybe not. So that's something you can do, and there are a lot of different shapes that you can do with this technique. You could also make a curved one with shoulders by just you know, placing some more wall on the side, and then you could have these little, I mean, this one might maybe be a bit too wide for this to look good, but yeah, you could have like these little shoulders on the side, and yeah, there are many different things. You can just try out whatever you like and create a little cute little graveyard. So we're slowly getting to the end of this very chaotic video and this random assortment of tips and tricks. But there's one more thing that I really want to show you. I hope it works now, because sometimes it doesn't right away, because I haven't mastered it yet. It's not because it doesn't work, but it's a bit finicky. So we have our round building, and I will place, oh no, I will raise it. Yeah, of course I'm going to have to pet you. I will raise its height, and then I will place a different, a second one right in the middle. And I think this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because sometimes it doesn't want to be where you want it to be, but you have to make sure that you see this line in the middle, and then you place this one, and then you oh, okay. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show you, but I don't know why it worked like this and not like it was supposed to. Let's try again, because I want to show you properly. I don't want to just rely on this weird coincidence. So you've got this one, and then you place the second one in the middle, right? And then, yeah, there you go. That's what I wanted to show you. That's how you can make a floating platform. And personally, I have not done it yet, but I've seen people create like floating balloons and things like that, which is really, really cool. So there are many options. I use this technique for my glowing mushrooms, which I can show you. Well, they're not really glowing mushrooms, but they're supposed to be glowing mushrooms. It's a little finicky, so if you want to change the height afterwards, I think it's not going to work. I think it will always spawn little legs if you do this. These are my glowing mushrooms. And what I did is I just put a bunch of lanterns in the middle. Yeah, you can see them poking through down here. And then I used the floating platform or floating pancake technique to create a little mushroom. And of course now it's not going to work because of the limit. There is currently a limit on how many lanterns can emit light at a time. It's a bit sad, but it is what it is. Maybe someday they will raise the limit. And yeah, this is one that still works. And that's what it looks like. I thought these were really cute because this little village has like this fairy kind of theme going on. So I thought it would be a cute detail. And that's one thing you can do, but there are many, many things you can do with the floating platform technique. So I think that's pretty much it. There's just some more general things that we can talk about, just to make your builds a little bit more interesting. Things you can do, things you can add. Like for example, something like this. So if you have a regular tower and you want it to look a little bit more interesting, you can do something like this. You can add some railings and then you can add something like this. Oh, it's a bit too high, I think. And then you turned it into like a little lookout tower. So this is one way to make things a little bit more interesting. Or right here I stacked just a little wider building on top of it. And in general, I think a lot of ways to make your builds a bit more interesting just come down to layering. Of course, adding details, adding a lot of windows, adding some flags and things like this will also make your build more interesting. But the first thing you can do while building is layering. So for example, here I just placed a little building on top of another one, and I can't grab it right now. Of course I can't. So, is this the one? No, it's not. It's not. But, maybe this is... No, it's not. It's not the one. Either way, I think you can kind of see what I did here, or I can just demonstrate it right over here. So I just put one building, and then another one, but you have to fiddle around with things a bit. So this is, I think, how I got these pillars, but then you kind of have to figure out how to not make them disappear. So yeah, layering and things like this, you know, like if you want to make a little bridge, don't just make it a bridge. I mean, you can just make it a bridge, obviously, this would work as well, but I think it's more interesting to add some roof, and for this one I used 2 pieces of roof, simply just to have this little pillar in the middle. And yeah, so some general advice is just don't be afraid to make mistakes or something like that, because it doesn't matter. You can always change things up later. If you do something and you try out something new, it might just not work, at least not the way you imagined it, and then you can always just undo everything. That's the good thing in Tiny Glade. Nothing has to be permanent if you don't want it to, so don't be afraid to try out new things, and I don't know, just let's get brickin', I guess. Sorry about that. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If there's anything specifically, or maybe something you saw in a different video of mine, or maybe something you saw someone else doing and you really want an explanation, maybe I can explain it. If I can't explain it, then I'm always willing to find out how it's done. And if you want, I can make another video like this, so I wouldn't call this a tutorial video. It's more like a random assortment of some general tips and tricks on how you could possibly make your builds a little bit more interesting. So I hope this was helpful for some of you, and the next video is going to be our regular chill ASMR vibes again, and not me yapping non-stop. Anyway, I hope you still enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!